I don't want to say an afterthought, but not really in contention for competitive, results at this point in time. But then they get 2 wins in a row, and boom, they're up there.
It's early season for you.
Yeah,
Oh
6
yeah.
points, because so look at how many clubs have 4 points right now.
yeah. There's
It's like the
Four
entire mid part of the
Four
table.
clubs. Four clubs with 4 points after this weekend. It's 9th through 12th. And then 8th through 5th is sitting on 5 points.
man,
Close table.
yeah,
We all knew it was coming, though.
yeah.
But
I switched the stream
yeah,
on too, by the way.
And you have some clubs that have
Getting
only
into it.
played 3 matches, like Northern Colorado and Ford Madison, and then you have others like Charlotte who have played 6.
Mm,
So that helps too. Charlotte and Tormenta.
right. Oh,
I'm
What
looking
a-
forward to seeing how Ford Madison does against Charlotte next weekend.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
it's gonna be
think that's
so
going to be
good.
that's a big test for Forward Madison.
Yeah, it is.
definitely. That'll definitely tell us what kind of team they have. I mean, when we were looking at them, their past matches and everything, I don't know that you learned a whole lot about them from all those matches. It seemed very like back and forth on what they can and can't do.
Oh my
It,
gosh. Virtually every match in week 7 is going to be so much fun to watch. You got Charlotte going to Ford Madison. You have Greenville hosting North Carolina.
Who all have
Chattanooga hosting Lexington.
mm-hmm.
Tormenta hosting Richmond. Union Omaha hosting Northern Colorado. And then Fuego hosting One Knox. That's
Yeah,
damn, that's good.
be a really good one.
Oh,
is anybody off? Or is that a full slate?
I think that's a full slate.
6, 8, 10.
Yeah.
That's a full slate, yeah. All
Yep.
12 teams in action.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
I'll see
Like
some
it.
shakeup after next weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We're going to learn a lot about a lot of teams after this weekend. I think we'll probably learn a whole lot about Madison for sure.
Yep.
And we'll learn a lot about Northern Colorado too, I feel like. And then Greenville, yeah. I think those are the biggest three. Tormenta and Richmond, I think they're still kind of known quantities, and like with the injuries Tormenta has and still not having Keziah Sterling, I mean, you really just got to hope for the best until he gets back if you're Tormenta. So,
I mean, that's what they've been doing. They either win big or they lose bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
No in between with that team. Like whoever shows up any given week.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you're missing arguably the best striker in the league. So, I mean, what can you really do? And
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing with Greenville with the amount of injuries and stuff they have. Like, you're missing that many key parts to your team. At this point, you just got to try to get any points you can.
Does Greenville now have it together?
See, that's a big question heading
Mhm.
into this next week.
Oh, this is the team that's going to test them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
Alex, you drinking anything tonight?
No, it's late on a school night, so I stopped at a brewery a little earlier on the way back from Home Depot.
Oh
But,
yeah,
yeah, I've
that's how
been
it's done.
sitting here. We've been sitting here watching Netflix this evening.
Very cool. I have never had a twisted tea before, so that's what I've got.
All right.
It's
Oh
the
boy,
half and half,
twisted tea.
so it's the Arnold Palmer. Yeah. How about you, Brian?
I just got water. Came back went to dinner with my parents and kids and wife and my brother and his girlfriend. So had a couple beers at Tanner's.
Man, big family outing. That's cool.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I will be right back.
Yeah, I have a beer fridge full, but it's just a little too late for me.
Oh, I understand that. Oh, that's not bad.
Refreshing.
It's a little on the sweet side. Oh, it's a little on the sweet side, but yeah, it's not bad.
Hmm. I don't think
That'd
I've
be
seen
really
one of
good for
those
like
in
a
years.
hot summer day.
But no taking a break from the Modelo tonight.
Oh, I do have a bunch of Modelos I could dip into, but yeah, I think I'll stick with the iced tea or the twisted tea for now.
How's the beer selection at Werner Park?
If you stay on the main side with the seat backs, not great. But if you go to like the berm side, they have some local breweries that are out there, and uh, better tasting beers are over there. You just have to, make the trek over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, they're smaller serving sizes. I don't know if it's higher prices. They may be like equivalent, but I mean, it's local breweries, so they're not going to give you, a huge thing of beer like this for the same price. But
Right.
um, yeah, every single time that I go to Union Omaha matches as a fan, I make the trek over there to get a few beers from over there because I do not want like a Bud Light or anything like that. I just not a fan of those beers. So
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough.
How about Richmond?
We're a little bit spoiled in Richmond.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a wonderful game day experience, and the beer selection I think is a part of that.
Nice.
Three local breweries have outposts: Hardywood, Three Notched, and Bingo. And then they also have the standard Heinekens, Bud Lights, and PBRs. They introduced PBR
Okay.
this year,
Okay.
People's Beer of Richmond. And you can get up to a 32-ounce pour
Wow.
for I
Okay.
think $11, which is that's not a bad deal for a professional sports.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's pretty good.
That's cool. I keep trying to tell my buddy to go to a Richmond match. I don't know if he's been to one yet, but I keep bothering him about it because he likes to drink local beers, and he's a big soccer fan. So it seems like the perfect world for him to be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Word's gotten around town that it's a fun experience, and they're showing up by the thousands.
Yeah. When he first moved out there, he sent me a picture of City Stadium as he was driving by, and he said, "I didn't know Richmond had a soccer team." And I thought, "Man, listen up."
Yeah, we do for 30 years.
Yeah. I remember even while I was living in Virginia, hearing about Richmond, but I don't remember hearing a ton about them, but I do remember like in passing, oh yeah, there's a soccer team down south.
Whereabouts in Virginia were you based?
I was Alexandria.
Okay. Yeah, I've lived in Alexandria before.
Yeah. My dad was with the military at the time, and so he needed the shorter commute, so it just seemed best to be up north, in Fairfax County, and so he could just jump into. Well, I don't mean to say jump because traffic out there is horrible, but
Yep.
um, yeah, it just seemed to make sense to have a residence in proximity to the Pentagon.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian, we were talking about the game day experience in Richmond. Man, it sounds like a good one. We need to check it out sometime.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely on my bucket list of places to go. I know I've got trip to Georgia this year. I'm gonna try to go somewhere else, but my brother also invited me to go to Vegas with him. 'Cause
Ooh,
he's got a conference out there, so me and my other buddy are gonna go out there with him.
nice.
So
Yeah, Alex, I was going to try to make it out there this year, but Union Omaha and Richmond play on a Friday, so it just didn't seem to make sense.
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. Weekday matches are just so dumb. Like I get why they do it, but
Yeah,
I hate them.
yep, I agree.
Here in Warner Park seems to elicit a lot of discussion, huh? I don't know the. Allison said in the chat.
Oh yeah, he was. Alex was asking about the beer selection at Warner Park. So I told him over
Oh,
on like the main stands, there's not much because it's like Bud Light and stuff like that. But
mhm.
if you go over to like the berm side, they have that I
Down
don't,
draw.
yeah, exactly, where
Yeah,
they have the local breweries over there.
yeah, it's right behind. I don't think anybody ever sees it because it's behind where the camera sits at Warner.
Yeah, yeah,
If you ever watch any AAA baseball, you see it.
Yeah.
yep. All right, so Alex, Richmond had the week off. So how you feeling about the other teams? Are any of them scaring you, especially with who's coming to Richmond this week? Who did we say that
Tormenta.
was?
We're
Tormenta, yeah.
traveling to
Yeah, they're
Tormenta
going to Tormenta.
after the DC United match. We are going down to
Oh, that's
South
right.
Georgia.
DC's on, was it Wednesday?
Yes.
Ooh.
That's gonna be a tough one.
And Wayne Rooney has he seems like he's going to be a little bit more into it than past coaches.
Yeah, he even said
Um,
midweek last week that he knew who he was going to be putting out there on the field.
yeah, so that's a little bit worrisome, but especially after the way DC United played this weekend. So we'll see. You know, you want to win, you want to move on,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Last year we faced a not so great B side of a not so great Charlotte FC and lost 5-1 at home.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, it's a little bit concerning, but you know it is what it is.
hmm
Yeah.
You gotta wonder if because it's Wayne Rooney and playing over in England and everything, if he's gonna always take those cup matches more seriously.
Hmm.
'Cause, I mean, they do trot out, B squad and stuff like that for those over there, but at the same time, that's still high caliber play.
Matter of pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have been so great to see Wayne Rooney in City Stadium though if we had gotten that home draw.
hmm
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh
that's true.
man, I was so looking forward to that.
That's
But
why I should always go to the lower division side. They should
yeah,
always
Yep.
host.
like we practically sold it out when Charlotte FC came and they brought nobody, and
hmm
then have like Wayne Rooney come as the coach of DC United and be standing there behind the crowd, like it would be nuts. But
Yep.
I don't.
Are you going to go to it?
no, I'm not unable to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
It's tough, especially when they're on. Is that Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday, right?
Wednesday,
Yeah, especially on a Wednesday night, man.
yeah.
How far is DC from Richmond?
It's a depending on traffic, it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, the 2 hours doesn't
um,
sound too bad, but 4 hours on a weeknight
yeah.
is tough.
I go up there often for work, and I'll usually take the train. But if you go up there for a night event, there's no trains back.
Oh,
That's
that
true.
sucks.
Yeah.
You can get there, but then you have to stay overnight.
Yeah. I saw that there's some like luxury buses that are starting up in your area too. Um,
Wouldn't surprise me.
yeah.
But
So you know how like Megabus, it's just, I mean, it's like a coach bus that,
I'm familiar with Megabus.
yeah, but this is like a step up. Like they only have like 12
Okay,
to 18 seats on this bus, and you have
Really?
your own little tiny cubicle where you can like put the blinds up and everything, and it looks like a nice setup. Like
sounds
I,
expensive.
yeah, it's a little on that side, yeah.
That was the fun of Megabus. It's like it's dirt cheap, and you get rattled around, and you're probably gonna get car sick, but you'll make it to Philadelphia and back in one piece.
That's all you could really ask for, right?
But yeah, we go to Tormenta, and we'll see what Tormenta side shows up,
hmm
who shows up, who's available to play for Tormenta. But I don't know, like I'm feeling like we're due to start opening up the goal scoring.
Okay.
We have 2 goals in 4 matches.
Yeah.
Terzaghi has none. He
Yep.
scored 2 in the Open Cup against Cleveland, but has none in the regular season yet. Doesn't even have that many touches. Just I think it feels like we're having trouble just getting good chances towards him. And it's not like we haven't had, we've got, I think we have one from Belmar and one from Owain Gordon. So it's like we can get these chances to these guys. It's just we haven't been able to get them to Emmy.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is that we lost Jonathan Bolaños in the off season. I don't know if
Yep.
you saw his goal today. It's been making the rounds with Huntsville. He's seems like he's doing great things there. But yeah, he was a big part of it. He assisted on a lot of those goals last year, and he made things happen in the midfield. And we also lost Ethan Bryant. He
Yep.
made a lot of things happen. So I think we're due. We're gonna figure it out, but it's getting to that point where it needs to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like so. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Richmond is one of those clubs where Terzaghi doesn't start very hot. It takes him several weeks to kind of get into the groove, but then once he finally does, I mean, things just start clicking.
Yeah. I don't know if it's so much him or if it's just the people that are supposed to be feeding him the ball. But
Yeah.
yeah, that I think you're right. So
Well, and
we'll see.
replacing players like you said, Bolaños and Bryant, I mean, those are two very difficult players to replace.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. Does Emmy usually get that many touches before? I mean, he scores. I mean, most of the time it seems like he's kind of poaching goals or just being in the right spot to one tap them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I'm sure they'll round him into form, like you guys were saying. I mean, it might take him a little bit, but when he does, he catches fast, and he'll put 5 or 6 in a matter of what 2 matches, something like that. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
He'll
That
be
was
Golden Boot leader by like week 9.
yeah, probably.
So speaking of Golden Boot winners, how about Rafa Mensingen?
Man,
Yeah, that dude is
Um,
lighting it up.
he is doing exactly as I thought he would do. I mean, that's that and more.
hmm yeah, he had
And then
2
two
against
against
his former
Chattanooga.
team. Yeah,
Yep.
celebrated both of them too, which is a big no-no.
I know.
Oh,
I was just about to say the same thing.
yeah, he's big on his celebrations.
Yeah.
Gives all the glory, and yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
But yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
For-
Yep.
I like it. I like it. I think that stuff doesn't bother me. I like that celebration. Big hockey fan. Hockey players love to do it too.
Yep.
It never bothers me unless it's like something I don't know, especially like flagrant or I don't know.
mhm.
I think it's okay.
Sure. I'm cool with it as long as it's not against my team. It's pretty much
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
anybody else wants to do it, I guess yeah, sure, go ahead. But the minute a former Omaha player does it in Omaha to the Omaha bench, that's when I'm against it.
Who's a
Exactly.
significant former Omaha player that could potentially score a goal this year?
This year, uh
I
Devin
would say the
Boyce.
biggest, yeah,
Devin
Devin
Boyce.
Boyce, that's
Yeah.
a big one. I would
Yeah.
say another big threat is Toby Otieno.
Yeah,
Okay.
Toby.
He's having a good season down at Tormenta.
He is.
Knutson too, down in Tormenta.
Knutson, yep.
He's not much of he's not so much a goal scorer, is he? Or I guess he's capable.
He's capable, but he's not.
Corner kicks.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. He's a big body, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
I
him
was
up there for
shocked it
some
took
header.
so long for him to get signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked that Omaha didn't re-sign him. To be honest,
Yeah.
that was one that I was really kind of scratching my head. Like, how have we not signed one of our 3-year starting center backs? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. But then looking at the signings that we did get, I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, that's basically a sideways move as far as quality. So
Yeah.
Yep. And Allison and I were actually chatting about this yesterday. Um, Knutson is one of those players that you're not worried about red cards. He's not going to be one of those players who's going to have any of those harsh challenges that's going to get him in trouble. But with Union Omaha center backs this year, Swahi and Palacios, yeah, I'm worried
yeah,
to say the least. I don't think it'll be too long before we see them getting into card trouble and uh, fans reacting and, and as they
Mhm.
do. But certainly be entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Palacios is he's a very physical player.
Yeah, yes. Seeing him mix it up with Cheney during that match was, oh man, that was
Yeah.
so much fun. Brian, you probably heard a lot more chatter down there than I did, but even from up top, like just the body language of seeing them interacting
Hmm.
was fun to watch.
Yeah, there was Cheney's he's a shit talker for sure. Um, backs it up most of the time though, so I mean it's one of those deals where the dude talks a lot of shit, but he also puts in goals. So, but yeah, there was quite a bit of chatter. But I mean, the voice I heard all the time was Cheney. Cheney was loud about everything, and I mean it was complaining about calls, and it was also like kind of setting up the rest of the team. Like, I need you to be here to feed me here. Like, he knew exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah,
So he seems like a really smart player. Like, he knows what every position on the pitch should be doing. So it feels
yep,
like he's really bought into that system, which is good for Madison because that's exactly what they needed.
yeah. All right. So
Is it?
looking back, Wednesday we had the Charlotte Omaha match that went 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as much as I would love to say that it's a good draw for Union Omaha, at the same time, man, they were looking really good that night. You know, probably should have won that one if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
They had
Um,
enough tap-ins.
I mean, it took Austin Pack to have a career type game to keep Omaha out of the goal.
Yeah,
That dude was nuts.
yeah,
Yeah,
Everything he looked at was saved.
yeah,
you might be seeing two of the goalkeeper of the year nominees on that pitch that night.
Yeah, seemed that
yeah,
way.
easily.
It's early, but they both put up put up their case.
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
Well, I mean,
And
just
Austin
look at
Pack, Austin Pack, like he played for Hartford for the first half of last year, and then like came back to Charlotte and was on the bench behind Zendejas,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and now he's like back to his 2020 2021 form.
hmm,
I was looking at his past performance with Charlotte back when Charlotte was in the championship, and he had, I think it was 2021. He had 5 clean sheets, including like 4 in a row.
wow.
Like I don't know what happened last year. I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
But I didn't pay any attention to what he was doing last year, and didn't look too far into it. But yeah, he kind of has come back into form. It seems.
yeah.
Yeah. He faced 9 shots on target on Wednesday and saved them all. So, yeah.
And there in the second half, I think I even saw Union Omaha had a couple chances in the goal area, not the penalty area, the goal area,
Mhm.
and he was blocking them. I mean, just crazy.
They were benefiting from Omaha not being able to put one to really make it uncomfortable for him, but I mean, at the end of the day, he did his job.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, and Omaha was coming off of, that was like their fourth match in 14 days, right?
something like that.
it
I
was
think you're
yeah,
right.
quite a bit. Yeah, they played on 15th and the 19th, the 8th.
Including Open Cup.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know, Charlotte. So I still put Charlotte as my number one in my power rankings this week.
Yeah.
It's theirs until someone takes them down.
Yep.
I do kind of feel like they dialed it in against Fuego.
Yeah.
Um, Fuego, Fuego didn't do themselves any favors, obviously.
Yep.
Um, but it Charlotte's now going on that same. They just had a long break, and now they're going on that same, like, I think they're gonna have 4 matches in 14 days.
Mhm.
Oof.
So I think the question with them is, can they can they keep up their energy? Because they looked a little tired against Fuego, and then Overton went out early, 42nd minute with an injury. Seemed
Mm-hmm.
like they didn't announce anything, but it seemed like he was a little like he was limping a little bit.
Yep.
Ibarra normally only lasts about 60, 65 minutes. I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep up the energy.
Yeah, they don't have an easy schedule either. They got Madison
Ford Madison
at
to start.
Madison,
Yep.
yep, and then home versus Greenville on the 3rd, and then on the 13th they're at Lexington.
And
Which
who's
Lexington is
their
one of those teams that it's really difficult to figure out because they do play so they're such a physical team that I feel like the end of that kind of stretch going and playing Lexington on the final match in like 14, however many days,
yeah,
it, it's going to be pretty chippy. So we'll see if
yeah.
they have enough in the tank because, like you said, Alex, they were already looking a little bit winded. So
Yeah, if you're going to win against Lexington, you're going to have to earn it. They're going to make you earn it.
That's true.
unfortunately for Lexington, they have been earning it against them. So
Yeah.
they're still down there.
So, controversial question here for you guys. I'm looking at Charlotte's roster. Do you think they have the roster depth to carry them through those tight schedules?
That's the question.
Because
I
I'm
think
looking at the roster and it looks like they're very top heavy. But I'm wondering once they start, pushing some of those subs in, if they have enough, power to really follow up with the
Mm-hmm.
starters.
ultimately yes.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. Last year, I mean, they didn't have that much. The core was about the same last year, except for Dane Kelly, and
hmm
they kind of snuck into the playoffs.
One thing I know um, that Jeffries has been doing with his subs to kind of mask any sort of you know perceived weakness in their roster depth is he's been having Trezor and Mbuyu as one of their subs. So even though you're taking off a player, maybe you're taking off Gabriel Oberton, maybe you're taking off Corey Bennett, but if you're substituting on Trezor and Mbuyu, that gives that sort of facade that, oh yeah, these guys have roster depth. But
Yeah, or Bennett. Sometimes they'll
or
switch
Bennett,
out. Yeah.
yeah. So um, having a player like Trezor and Mbuyu that comes off the bench to replace those guys certainly leads to some sort of roster strength, but I'm not sure if you look at, some of the midfielders, like if you start looking down some of as it goes down farther and farther, um, how you guys feel about their roster strength. But I'll tell you what, man, that starting 11, even their number one, number two subs, I mean, that's a crazy strong group of guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they look strong, and I mean it just really comes down to it's what every team is going to have to deal with this year. It's because all the teams are kind of more the talent is more spread out across all of these teams. You're going to have your main guys play longer minutes. So um, it comes down to injuries and stuff like that. I mean, we saw it last year too with injuries or changing the way the game was. Sure wins changed and became losses because of injuries and stuff like that. But that's going to be a big part of it, and then just keeping those guys fresh. So maybe you do want to get out of the Open Cup early to make sure your guys are um, rested and recharged between matches. But it's also subbing in those guys, which I mean they have that. I know they maybe only have like one or two guys in depth, but if you can keep those main guys switched out, so that starting 13 can be any of those guys could be in the starting 11. I mean, they can pretty much play anywhere too, it seems like. So especially with that style, I mean that style is get forward and score goals. So
Yeah.
I mean, you get a bunch of attacking players, you can just throw a bunch of attacking midfields in too and just send them.
Yep. And they play Charleston Battery on Tuesday at 7 Eastern time. Alex, Eastern time.
Yes. Yes.
So that'll be a good one. That'll be a fun one to watch. And they're the away team, so yeah. But that's not a far away trip either. So if fans are hoping to go to that one, that's not a bad one to go to.
Well, I mean, bring up the elephant in the room with the fans. Drawing less than 500 people 2 matches in a row.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
I always wonder if that like has anything to do with like Charlotte's kind of like the players seeming a little bit not that motivated, and I mean they got the job done, but like I say,
Mhm.
they seem to have dialed it in during against Fuego, and that had that can't be great
No, I'm
to
sure
play
it's not a
in
great
front of that
feeling.
few fans. And I understand like weeknight match, and then they're also competing with a Charlotte FC home match
Mhm.
Yeah.
on Saturday. But wow, I hope they can improve that attendance. They claim they had over 3,000 on the first match, but yeah,
Yeah, we don't think we saw that.
Yeah.
uh-uh.
So I could be wrong in saying this, but I think I think there are rules that are surrounding the whole attendance records, and I think you can even include stadium workers in that figure.
Hmm.
So if you're looking at the stewards that are there, if you're looking at the concessions people, the front office people working up in the booth, um,
I think it includes players and coaches too.
security, coaches, players, yeah, it all starts to add up pretty quickly.
Mhm.
So some of those figures you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. But if you're looking at clubs like Richmond or Ford Madison, those are ones that you don't have to worry about too much because you can see it. It's all in the stands, like you know it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know Nebraska college football. That's how they do their is they count stadium staff, coaches, players, all that stuff. It would not shock me if that's how they did it as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, you have some teams take tickets scanned into the door, and some teams take tickets sold too. So
yeah,
Yeah.
you might have sold 3,000 tickets, but you might have only got 500. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure they care one way or another. If you sold
Oh
3,000
no,
tickets, you sold
it's money in
3,000
the bank.
tickets. Yeah, we've
All right.
long
So we
said
had
that that's about the number that you need to be somewhat viable in this league is about averaging 3,000. So
Yeah. So we had that one, and then we followed it up with the Greenville Fuego match. Greenville 3-0.
Greenville's first win of the season.
Yeah.
They needed that.
yes, they did.
I feel like Fuego is going to be another one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to show up and all that kind of stuff, man. I'm not
Well, and,
trying to downplay Greenville's win, but at the same time, like Fuego, like who are you?
I mean, if you just look at the stats, I mean, shots and shots on target, Greenville dominated, but possession, Fuego had 63% possession. And
Man.
But they couldn't get a shot on goal until what, the 70th.
yeah, it was real late
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
the damage was done. They got dominated for dominating possession, sure. And I mean that just falls right into Greenville's kind of trap too, though. They scored early, which is their big thing.
Yep.
Their first goal was in the 11th minute, so that right there, as soon as they scored that, judging by past Greenville performances, they get a goal, they're going to sit back. But
Yep.
it didn't seem that way in that match, actually, which was kind of shocking. It didn't seem like they wanted to just sit back, wanted to kind of get out a little bit. That was another one where both teams, and just the passing in this league is just not really there quite yet either. There's a lot of sloppy passes and stuff again this week.
Yeah. And whenever a team, or at least fans, go on to Twitter and say, well, yeah, we played Greenville and we lost, but we had such and such stats. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, everybody has those, excuse me, everybody wins possession against Greenville. I mean,
Yeah.
they like to sit back. They like to let you have the ball. I mean, so you can throw out all the stats you want to make your team look as good as possible, but at the end of the result, when you look at the scoreboard, who won?
Yep. Well, especially a 3-0 victory. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just a thorough beating. It's not like a 1-0 victory. So
yeah.
Yeah,
And I know
Fuego's.
I'm guilty of it. I did it against Charlotte when Union Omaha played them, here recently because I was sitting there listening to all these stats, like, hey, like Union Omaha had a pretty good performance. Like, look at all these stats. But then, like, hey, it was a draw.
Yeah, and it sucks for Fuego. I mean, they're probably. I'm sure they stayed in the area, considering how close Greenville and Charlotte are.
Yeah,
But facing Greenville and losing that bad, and then having to go to Charlotte,
mhm.
like it's yeah. Kind of felt bad for that sequence of events for them, but
Yeah.
they couldn't get much on offense.
yeah.
Um, Even I mean, against Charlotte, I think they had one shot.
One shot on target. Yep.
Yeah,
One shot.
5 shots total, one on target.
Jeez.
Charlotte had 13 shots with 5 on target. So, and I mean that sucks on another level too, because you go and you play Greenville, who likes to sit back, and
Uh-huh.
then you have to turn around and play Charlotte, who is so attack heavy.
Yeah,
Like that is just not a
yeah.
fair way to go.
Remember everything we prepared for to play Greenville? Yeah, throw all that out the window. We're going to do the exact opposite against Charlotte.
and
Yep.
then
And
what's next? Speaking. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't even know if Fuego is equipped to deal with that much offense. Their defense doesn't look that great most of the time. So
Yeah.
that's that was kind of a lose lose situations. But I mean, honestly, holding them to 1 goal and down a man too. There's some bright spots definitely for Fuego. They show flashes. I mean, most of the teams in the league show flashes like that, but that's that was kind of a if there was ever a moral victory, I think that qualifies as one of them.
So right now in the league, you have Lexington in 10th, you have Chattanooga in 11th, and you have Central Valley in 12th. Of those three, which one are you feeling the best about?
Chattanooga.
Okay. Brian?
I'm gonna say Lexington.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Lexington and Chattanooga. I don't have them separated that far apart either. Like
Yeah, no.
that's a pretty close.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They both need to figure out what the hell they're doing, how they're actually gonna play for the whole season.
I would say as a complete unit, I would say Lexington, but as a defensive unit, I would say Chattanooga.
Interesting.
They both
Well,
have the same issues with a lot of possession and sometimes not as much purpose.
mhm.
Yeah.
Although I think Lexington has shown they're almost there, and Chattanooga did as well. They scored 2 goals against um, who did they play last week?
uh,
Oh,
Chattanooga played North Carolina on Friday, and then last week, on the 8th, they played one Knox and 2-1.
1-2-0. Yeah, 2-1. Yeah. So I think both, they've shown they can do it.
Hmm.
yeah.
But it's just a matter of doing it consistently.
Yeah. Well, we'll
I know
find
that
out.
I've seen plenty of Chattanooga fans getting a little vocal on Twitter, so they're getting a little antsy
Hmm.
The
about
patience is wearing
Ziggy.
thin.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even so, one of the Chattanooga a new one, a podcast came out recently, and we pull up and give them a proper shout out here.
Yep.
But they interviewed Coach Ziggy, and he even criticized the team. He said, like, we have a lot of possession without purpose. And this was before the loss this weekend. The podcast is the Howl Chattanooga Red
Wow.
Wolf supporters.
Let
All
me
right.
take a note of that.
They're on YouTube. They looks like they just started 3 weeks
Awesome.
ago, and put out their first interview was with Coach Ziggy.
Awesome.
Awesome. We'll have to keep them in the loop and or I'm sorry, in our
Yeah.
notes to chat with them some more. That's cool. Thanks for bringing that up.
I mean, we're gonna find
Yeah,
out
you
real
always.
quick with Lexington and Chattanooga because they play this weekend. So
Yep.
that'll show quite a bit of who wants it a little bit more, I guess.
So while we're hyping other people's work, let's hype some of your work. You do League One Updater. So you have your own website, you do a little bit of podcasting. What got you into all that?
Honestly, I just wanted to learn more about the league, and expand beyond Richmond. After after really getting into Richmond after moving here, um, and then I mean, that's just my natural way of doing things. I mean, I'm a systems analyst and a technical writer for a living.
Wow, okay.
I learn by, or I teach by learning, or learning by teaching, I guess.
Sure.
I have to like learn stuff really quickly and then teach somebody else how to do it. So it's just like my natural instinct to, like, I guess, start a website and start writing about it to learn it myself, and then try to get it out there to others.
That's
Um,
cool.
I was talking to the CEO of the Richmond Kickers a couple months ago now, and he said like the big thing we have is like just getting casuals more involved. Um,
Yeah.
People like to come out to the games and have fun, but are they really getting invested in the players in the league? And I guess I'm trying to reach more of those types of people.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the one of the biggest struggles with lower division soccer is that you have so many people that come in the gates who will watch the 90 minutes of soccer and then go straight home, but they won't invest the time to look into the players, to get to know them, to learn their background and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of one of my motivations when I'm taking on stories and interviews and different projects that I'm doing because I want to like push all the content in people's faces so that they know these players
Right.
that they have more reason, more depth behind the cheering that they have when they're in the stands, and if
Yeah,
that
and
makes
you're
you a bigger fan for the team, then awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, you're doing an outstanding job with that, telling
Thank
those
you.
stories. Keep that up. Those are great articles, especially that Tomas Dubin article was. That's the type of stories that I think people need to hear. People
Thanks.
get invested in.
So I was meaning to put this article out last week, but it's actually going to be coming out tomorrow. And it's going to be about another one of the Union Omaha players. I'll spoil it here now. It's Steven Dos Santos. Um,
Nice.
so that'll be coming out tomorrow. Like I said, I was supposed to have it out last week. Life just kind of got in the way, but um, it's an article that takes him all around the world. From all of his
Yeah.
different clubs that he's played with, and winding up in under the USL umbrella for many many years, and winding up in Union Omaha, and having the support from his friends and families and fiance along the way. So that'll be coming out tomorrow. So it's going to be a late night editing that one, re-editing it because I've written that article like 3 times now or something like that.
Yeah, and there are so many stories like that out there that need to be told.
Yeah,
They're just
exactly.
waiting to be told.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's so exciting for the three of us. I mean, we have these players, we have these stories right here in front of us. It's just a matter of getting the permission from the clubs to speak with those players, to tap into those stories, and to you know open those books to everybody that's out there.
Yeah. And I mean it's crazy because it does kind of fall on people like especially you two, the writing and stuff like that because the league and the clubs just don't have the money or the time to really invest that much stuff into it. So it really takes people um that really want to grow the game to be able to do it. So I mean that's a blessing and a curse. It's nice because it gives us something to do and it kind of gets us talk to the players and talk about soccer with each other and stuff like that. But at the same time, you do kind of wish sometimes that more of the club would be able to put stuff like that out. But understandably, they can't really always make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a professional journalist by any means, and I certainly don't think I'll ever be a professional journalist. But um, I think that kind of lends a kind of a more beneficial hand to the people that are covering lower division soccer because um, it's coming from a place of passion, not a place of profession. Um, and we may not tell the story the same way that professional journalists may, but there's still that passion behind the words and the stories that are there that are coming out to the fans. And I think it's cool for everybody that's involved in lower division soccer that's trying to hype up the players and the leagues and all that kind of stuff because there's just so much cool stuff to tap into.
Yep. And the professional journalists aren't really doing it for our league.
Yeah, no, they certainly are not doing that. Do you have local news stations that are covering Richmond?
Yes, when they feel like showing up. Um, sometimes I think that I think sometimes I think these clubs like have to like actually pay the news stations to show up.
Oh,
It's kind of just a weird weird thing. But yeah, the Richmond Times Dispatch is our local newspaper. They have been sending someone to all of the press conferences and media days so far. Um, it's whether or not they actually write a story on the match. I guess depends on the excitement of the match, the or perceived to them.
Mhm.
Um, well, so the Richmond Times Dispatch person is a former. She used to work for the club, so she's invested into it. She's a fan. But if is the paper going to give the space for a 0-0 draw against a
Sure.
team from northern Colorado?
yeah.
Um, that but she does her best, and it's better than we've had in the past. And then sometimes the one of the TV stations will show up and do a story, but that's
Man,
about
see,
it.
that's an injustice in and of itself.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me. Like, sorry, lost a microphone there. It's crazy to me that like you get 6,000 people in the stands, so it's a big deal for the
Mhm.
city
Oh
that
yeah.
that many people are showing up to these to this event. And that's more people than our minor league baseball team draws. And yet it's not really getting as much mainstream coverage as it I think it should. Um,
Yeah.
but then again, I guess the counterpoint is, everybody who's going to be interested in reading the story was already there, and then they're not going to read a story because they were there.
Yeah. I mean, you're not lying.
Like
That's
it,
fair.
it could be tapping out the interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose that's fair. I mean, there's not everybody is like us who will sit and watch a match and then watch it again and then watch it again and then come and talk about it, you know?
Right?
So, um, I don't know. I enjoy doing it just because I like watching the matches and like being fully invested in something, you know? So, I mean, I get that. At the same time, you still, even with the history that the kickers have and stuff like that, just there's new people every day that can find out about them and discover them. But the only way they're going to do that is by either attending the match or seeing Richmond kickers over and over and over. It's like, hey, maybe I should make it to one of those matches sometime. The same thing that I think every team in this league kind of has to deal with. But obviously, being
Yeah,
Richmond, you have the history and all that, so you got a little bit of a one up on the rest of the league.
yeah,
But it's showing out. I mean, Richmond has been showing out every game this season that they've had at home. So
They really have.
and it started at the end of last season too. So, I mean, for the
Mhm.
playoffs, selling that
yeah,
place out and definitely not being over capacity
yeah.
um, for the fire marshal.
I mean,
And they were insane.
it's an open stadium. It's outside. It's metal bleachers. Nothing's gonna
Yeah,
catch on
exactly.
fire.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of room on the concourse above. The concourse is all gravel. Like it's
Mhm.
it's like a high school stadium. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you have nicer high school football stadiums out there, but yeah, it's like it's like a large high school stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the name recognition is definitely there. But it's word of mouth of the game day experience. I think is what does it to get people out to any of these games. I mean, Chattanooga, I hear nothing but great things about their game day experience.
Mhm.
And they've been regularly getting 2,000-3,000 people.
Yeah, Chattanooga is one of those away days that, man, looks really enticing.
Mhm.
And it's not a terrible drive. I mean, Midwestern standards, like 12, 13 hours. Like, oh yeah, it's not bad.
It's a day drive. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there before to Chattanooga, not for a soccer match, but yeah, I've driven there before, and it takes a day.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I am not like Rich. If I'm gonna go somewhere like that, I'm not gonna drive out there. I'm gonna fly. I don't like driving. Like when we go up every year to the Niagara River, it's like a 6 hour drive, and I dread it every single year. It's like, dude, I
I want
hate driving.
I want to say Cheyenne from Between Clean Sheets when she covered the Tormenta the championship game. Uh-oh. Sorry, I lost light here.
You're good.
That's all right. We'll just talk in the dark until I figure it out. But she took the train from Washington D.C. to Statesboro, Georgia, which I don't know if you ever tried to take a
Whoa.
train like anywhere like south or even in the Midwest, but it was quite an adventure.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
think she got stuck. She like tweeted about it and got getting stuck. Just on random delays everywhere because they got a lot of freight train pass.
Oh
But
God.
finally made it to Statesboro in a train from DC. But yeah, if it's anywhere south, I just drive.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
nice because you guys got the luxury of that being on the East Coast, and how many teams are just kind of centralized over there. But I mean, Madison's not. I mean, what? It's a 6 hour, 6.5 hour drive.
You would hate that drive, Brian.
I I mean, I hate most drives anyway. So I mean, I essentially go that way anyway. It's just once I hit Iowa, I go left instead of right. It's pretty much the only difference.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Sorry, my light's on a timer. I guess that was
no, you're good.
the timer to say go to bed.
Well, do we need to
but
let you go then?
but I can, let's go through a couple of matches real quick
Yeah,
Cool.
while
that
I'm still
sounds
here,
good.
and then I'll yeah.
All right, so
Um, what
you
was
want to talk
next? What?
about the week 6 or week 7?
We can skip ahead to week 7. Let's talk about
Cool.
it. What do we
Let's
got?
jump
That
on to
sounds
week
good.
7. Let me
That's a
jump
lot
ahead
of
to.
yeah.
So the first match, week 7, is Ford Madison hosting Charlotte. That's at
Oh,
5 p.m. Central.
such a good one. And it's at Bree Stevens. Oh, that's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Imagine the atmosphere for that one.
Should be pretty good. I mean, you got first place Charlotte and fifth place Madison.
Yeah.
I think Madison needs to prove themselves. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They've had I mean, nothing not to dog on Omaha, but the rest of their schedule has been a little bit on the weak side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that if this is the time to show that they're for real, it's going to be with Charlotte at home.
Yep.
Oh, that
Agree.
one's going to be so much fun. Oh, I'm excited for that one.
I agree. I still think Charlotte takes care of business. I still think Madison is a probable playoff team, but just with the firepower that Charlotte has, it's going to be tough for a whole lot of teams to do anything against them, to be honest.
Well, I mean, another thing to consider here is that Charlotte is coming off of a short recovery after playing against Charleston on Tuesday. So, with
Fair.
that little bit of rest, playing 2 away games and traveling,
Mm-hmm.
you still think they're going to be able to get it done?
Oh, I still think so.
All right.
I I mean, just watching Charlotte, every week I watch him, and the more I watch him, the worse I feel about how low I put them in my preseason rankings, and like not really believing in them. I still don't think they're going to have the defense that's going to carry them the
Yeah.
full distance, but um, they certainly have the offense too. So
So Madison will be without Jaden Onen.
mhm.
That's going to
Okay.
be a big X factor there. He was so impactful against Greenville, like 2 official assists, 3, a third, if should probably account as an assist.
Sure.
And then got that red card. Um, that being said, I still think this will be when Charlotte. I think this will be when Charlotte finally loses.
Right.
Ooh.
All right.
I think
Okay, so
this.
we got a controversial take here because there are 3 remaining unbeaten clubs. There's Ford Madison, Northern Colorado, and Charlotte Independence. And so you're saying Ford Madison is going to be one of the undefeated teams after this match.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we'll
Keep the receipt.
okay, yeah. So we'll talk about Northern Colorado here in a little bit. But so you think Ford Madison is going to go undefeated another week? Okay, so let's jump to the next match because I want to get closer and closer to that Northern Colorado match. We have Greenville Triumph hosting North Carolina at 7, just an hour later. This is going to be an interesting one because you have Greenville's defense against North Carolina's offense. Um, Man, that one's going to be fun, and it's at Paladin Stadium there in Greenville. So,
Brilliant.
who you got in this one?
I think North Carolina keeps on rolling.
Okay, yeah,
I think I'm not again like not to dog on Greenville's comeback here, but North Carolina they're a solid team from top to bottom.
okay.
They don't seem to have any problems right now. Greenville's they're probably still not going to be 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna say North Carolina.
Nick Holiday's having a hell of a season so far to start with. Alex Anderson is a beast right now. I mean, yeah,
And then you got Menson and Perez,
yeah,
who are just absolutely clicking like they've played together forever.
yep.
Soup,
Man,
no, we
okay.
haven't talked about Tormenta yet. That's actually coming up next here, but I do agree. I think North Carolina just has too much firepower for an injury plagued Greenville team.
Soup Loops, yeah, we have. Thanks for joining. We have not talked about the Tormenta game. We will be talking about that here very shortly, though, because we're running through the Week 7 matches right now. All right, so we got you both have a North Carolina win on that one, and then a half hour later we have Chattanooga hosting Lexington. This is a very interesting one because we kind of talked about those lower 3 teams and how Chattanooga and Lexington are very close together. Um, who you got in this one?
Lexington.
Okay,
Yeah, I
oh,
also have Lexington on this one.
Or a draw.
or draw, yeah, yeah,
Sure.
okay.
Uh, I'm
Has Let me look something up. Yeah, you guys keep chatting. I'm gonna look up a stat here real quick.
I was gonna say Lexington they haven't had a full game playing to their potential quite yet, and I don't think they're gonna have another opportunity to do that um, after this for a little while. So um, I think this is going to be Lexington's game where they finally put everything together against a Chattanooga team that is pretty much on the same boat as them, as we talked about earlier, as far as not being able to put a full match together. But I just have more confidence in the squad down in Lexington to put it all together this week.
So if they are able to win against Chattanooga, that would be their first road victory. So that would be exciting for them.
Oh, for sure.
And one of the biggest quotes that I got from oh man, what's the oh geez, it was in the post match quotes for Lexington. Um, and he said it was something like it was Kalen Fox, and he said something along the lines of if you're not learning, you're losing. And he said, or no, if you're not winning, you're learning. And he said, tonight we were learning. I thought that was a really interesting quote because certainly if you're winning, you become complacent in, what you've done and you just stick to what has carried you to success. Versus if you lose, you learn from that and you move on and you grow and you develop. So I thought that was a really interesting quote. I thought that was really good. I've never heard a player say, if you're not winning, you're learning. I just thought that was a really cool juxtaposition.
It's an interesting way to
Um,
put it.
yeah. So yeah, and that was credit to Tyler Crane for getting that quote. I saw that in his post match quotes that he was able to get when he was hanging around after the match. So that was cool. Um, all right. So at the same time as Chattanooga and Lexington, we have Tormenta hosting Richmond. Here we go. This is the money one. Here we go.
I think that
Tormenta
this is
hosting Richmond.
yeah, I think this is going to be one where the bad Tormenta shows up and Richmond takes this one,
Ooh,
and the
okay.
good Richmond shows up.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not completely sold on either team. Um, I'm not sure which team is going to show up for either of them. Tormenta's still missing some of their big key players and stuff like that. Richmond still kind of trying to figure out exactly how they can um, bring Terzaghi into the fold, as we talked about earlier today. I mean, this one I see like a 0-0 draw. This one I just don't know
No,
what
no.
team is going to show up.
The worst.
I think it'll be competitive because both of these teams are. I mean, they're usually exciting brands of soccer to watch. So it'll be one of those quote unquote exciting 0-0s.
Yeah, I mean, I did not expect a
Yeah.
0-0 draw against Hailstorm either. I would have
Yeah.
at least expected like a 1-1 or a 2-2. But like, the defense was good on both sides. And yeah, so yeah, I could definitely see that happening against Tormenta as well.
So, Alex, I got a question for you. I don't know that I've looked into this too much to see, but I know that there were several matches where Akira Fitzgerald was not playing. Has he played yet this season?
I believe he only played in the first match against Greenville.
Okay.
His wife had a baby, so he's on like he's still on the bench.
Oh, all
And
right.
he's kind of doing a great job. He's also the goalkeeping coach.
Okay.
So he's doing a kind of a great job, like kind of passing the torch on to Will Palmquist, it seems like.
Nice.
But yeah, he's there on the bench, but just not playing because he's spending more time with his family
Yeah.
for now.
Family
We've
guy.
certainly heard the name Will Palmquist before, so yeah, we're no strangers to that name. Um, Man, that's awesome. Congrats to Akira. I
Yeah.
remember hearing that his wife gave birth, but I don't remember hearing that. Yeah, it had a huge. I don't remember associating that with him missing those matches. So that's really cool that he's taking time out to
Yeah, he only
be a
technically
dad.
missed one. I brought in our academy goalkeeper, Eli Mumford, in backup for that one. But yeah, he came back to. He's been on the bench and still coaching.
Has
So
Palmquist always been with Richmond? I feel like for some reason his name is
yes,
striking a chord with like North Carolina.
I'm not sure. He was with Richmond last year for sure. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Let me take a look here. Um,
But other backup last year was Austin Causey, who's now starting at Lexington.
oh, okay,
And doing a fairly decent job there. Um,
nice.
so I think that's a big credit to Akira Fitzgerald.
So Palmquist was with uh, for college. He played at Denver, and then he played at New Mexico United in 2021, and then came to Richmond after that.
Yep, 2022.
So
Okay.
yeah, nice.
And then we have Soup Loops here, our resident Tormenta fan, saying, I feel like both teams have been struggling offensively. Terzaghi hasn't scored in league play yet. Sterling probably won't be there. I don't see it being a very high scoring game, maybe a 1-1. But
Yeah,
Tormenta has also been struggling defensively too, and Richmond has not, so it could be bad for them in that regard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Torment.
Tormenta has like, it depends on like what Tormenta shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, Preston Kilwing he's good when he's there.
Mhm.
Like he's solid.
Yeah.
Um, let's see who else do we have on their
Kilwine had
back
that
line.
stupid red card, but I mean,
Yeah, and
that
then it
was
was a disaster when he missed the next match.
yeah, yeah.
Like yeah,
And they've been dealing with quite a few injuries there at Tormenta. Um,
right.
so
That's why
I
they brought in Dalton
yeah,
to
exactly.
replace Dengler when he went down.
Yep. Yep.
Which I mean, he's done well enough, about as well as you can coming in as an emergency situation like that. They haven't looked totally disjointed, but they haven't looked totally together in that defensive unit. So who knows? Like you
Yeah,
said, Alex, it depends on what team shows up.
and they're just yeah, and when they do show up, they're scrapping together these goals from all over the place.
Yeah.
Akali had two early on. That Mateus Cassini goal, like, did you guys see
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
The
Yeah,
one that like defies the laws of nature. It's like,
he had about an inch to put it in, and somehow
yeah,
found it. Yeah,
yeah, and then he assisted on the other one. Like when like seeing him show up like that, it was just that's kind of what we expected for him. you know, I he played for Forward Madison last year, and
yep,
I heard he was a little bit inconsistent at times. Like when he's on, and then other times he's just getting fouls and not.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on. So like I said, it depends on which Tormenta shows up.
and it
Yep.
depends on if Terzaghi can get rolling too. Because I mean, like we said
Yeah,
earlier, when he gets on, it's quick. He comes on real fast when he actually gets on. So maybe that's this game for him too. Could take advantage
yep,
of that piecemeal tormented defense.
yep. And then we've been playing the kind of a tandem with Carlton Belmar and Owain Gordon,
Hmm.
switching them out. One will start, one will come in like the 60th minute, and they both have a goal, so it's that can work. Um, but
Those two
yeah,
guys, man, I tell you what, man, those two guys are exciting players to watch. And then
all right,
Superloops jumped in and said, "I think Corey is going to be one to watch this year. 3 goals in 3 games. Yeah, Jackson Corey is definitely a player to watch for
Yeah,
Tormenta. Um, he's kind of stolen the limelight from Keziah Sterling and Makwile Akale.
yeah,
Even Kingsford Ajay. I mean, yeah,
yeah. They've been it's they haven't been really utilizing Ajay as much as I had expected. I don't know who knows the coaching decisions there, but he's been kind of off the bench. It seems like,
yeah,
but then
yep.
again, like he worked very well with Sterling last year.
yeah,
That's the thing. I mean, they're going to be a completely different team when Sterling comes back. I feel like maybe more offensive, and if their defense is still injured and all that stuff, they might not be that. I think it'll give them a new kind of dimension and kind of space that team out a little bit. Sterling's a really good player and one that can really. So
yeah.
maybe they tailor it to more counterattacking style once he gets back, but he's got to get healthy and
Yeah,
get back. I mean,
I hope he comes back to the league. The league needs him.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. Just after they play Richmond, right?
From as a Richmond fan, yes. As a league fan, I kind of want him back.
yeah,
And then we have Union Omaha hosting Northern Colorado. I'm excited for this one. I'm bummed out that we're not going to be able to have the guys over at Linners and Woozers come hang out with us. But we reached out to them, and both those guys are busy. But we're gonna have I think we're gonna have Rico on Friday night join us for the hype, you know, match for the weekend and everything. But um, that's a good Northern Colorado club coming to Omaha.
yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough one to predict.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the hardest one to predict of all of them, for me at least. I could see this being a 1-1 draw, and I hate to use a draw as a prediction. You always
Yeah.
want a win or a loss. So I'm gonna go with and don't boot me off your show, but I'm gonna go with Hailstorm on this one.
I don't
Uh,
blame you for saying that either.
yeah. Tim hopping in saying impossible. Warner Park doesn't host soccer matches. Um, yeah, that it'll be Omaha coming back to Warner Park. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to get my tailgate spot back and do that. Tim also saying Union draw Omaha for a reason.
Yep.
Um, I mean, it's tough because I feel like we still don't know that much about Omaha, um, and I feel like Northern Colorado is already kind of a known quantity. You kind of know what you're going to get from them. You know how they're going to play. Um,
You are going to get a relentless attack.
yes,
Yes.
and they are very good. How however that happened, they went from last year to this year. I mean, they were kind of on that uphill trajectory last season, barely missing out on the playoffs. So it looks like it's carried over for them. Well, but I think talent wise, I think Omaha has the better, more talented side. Whether or not that side has completely gelled yet, I mean, they'll have a match on Tuesday against St. Louis that they'll have to worry about first.
Yep.
Um, so that might put a damper on things. But St. Louis is not that far of a drive, really, team. So
No, it's only like 6.5 hours.
yeah,
And the club is flying though, so they're not going to be sitting on that bus for all that time.
there you go.
So what I noticed about Hailstorm last week when they were in Richmond, watch out for Bruno Rendon. So he was their center back. He is a very physical defender.
Okay.
He kind of gave us fits in the backfield a lot.
Was he paired with
Um,
Cornwall?
yes. And yeah, as far as like, he's a big guy, and he used his size, definitely to his advantage. Very chippy. Um, yeah. So I mean, he's one of the reasons why like their defense is still good, even though they're such a relentless offensive attack with they bring up their defenders on the offense and can still get back and stop things in the back.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Noe Meza should not be on his side, and it should be Steven Dos Santos going at him
Yes.
because those are two very big dudes.
Yes.
We're going to see some big boy soccer on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. And I mean,
I was just surprised, like to see them up close, and how you don't really think about our league having like that. I guess we don't really have like that big of players in the past, but like this year, it seems like we've
It's a
we've
lot more.
stepped up on size.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Hailstorm's roster, I mean, top to bottom. Back on defense, you were just mentioning that center back paired up with Cornwall. They got Breck Evans, Arthur Rogers back on the back line. Then you move into the midfield. I mean, you still got Jackson Dietrich. You got Stefan Lukic. Um, do not sleep on Norty Nortai. I mean, Nortai Norty, sorry. I always screw up his name.
It's always
But
flipped because they're so similar.
exactly. One player to watch for Hailstorm that I don't think gets enough discussion is Enoch Kwakwa. That guy can play. And in the short amount of minutes that he's had with Northern Colorado, he's shown that he should be playing more minutes on the field. And then obviously there's Irvin Para. I mean, he hasn't been playing a whole lot. He's been sitting out for personal reasons. Um, but man, I mean, that is a team that is relentless in their attacks. They're a constant threat. They're
And then
very fast. Oh, it's just they're going to be so much fun to watch.
Brendan Rosas made his debut against Richmond as well. He
Yep.
did not have a shot, but he still has the speed. He was quick on his feet. I think he ended up playing 63 or 65 minutes, but he started. made his debut,
Yeah.
and he's known to score a lot of goals in Mexico, is what they say.
Yep.
And as much as we talk about Union Omaha coming back from that trip in St. Louis for the Open Cup, Northern Colorado has their own away trip that they're going to be traveling to Colorado Springs to play Switchbacks. And that's going to be a very emotional match for them because it's going to be, a rematch of
Oh,
US
no, no,
Open Cup.
no. They beat the Switchbacks in the last round. They're playing the
Oh,
Rapids
they're
in
playing
Denver. Yeah,
Rapids.
playing Rapids.
Rapids,
Yep.
that's right. Yeah. But I mean, even still, I mean, it's another emotional match for them.
Yep.
Um, that,
Oh, they're going to be in it to win it.
exactly. So if whether you look at it as Northern Colorado winning or losing, I mean, are they going to be able to get over that emotional, celebration or I don't know, hump to uh, return to results against Union Omaha on the road? I mean, it's going to be quite the storyline to follow for them.
Yeah, they're so far undefeated on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I mean, last season they were a big road team too. They were a weaker home club last season.
well, yeah. I mean, it's tough when your home is always moving. Essentially, they were a road team all season long. So
True.
um,
True.
I don't think it lasts after this weekend. I think has a consistency and power to be able to get it past the hailstorm. Plus, playing at Warner, I think it's going to suit some more of Omaha's guys just because it's such a smaller pitch and it's going to have to be more technical. And I trust guys with like Gallardo to just he's a fantastic technical player. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to do
Yeah,
quite a bit of damage to
that was a
Northern
great
Colorado.
pickup.
And that position battle between Gallardo and Brito, no matter who is playing between those two, it's going to be a very technical player who relies on finesse and technique to get it done. And I mean that's the lovely part between those two players. No matter who's playing, you know what you're going to get from them.
Well, and plus the weather's not going to be horrible. At least
Yeah.
this far out, it's not going to be horrible. About around 60 degrees, kind of cloudy, but and it's a night match. 7 o'clock our time, back at Warner Park. So hopefully we see closer to the attendance that we saw last season, somewhere around that 3,500 people. Um, I think the guys will be excited for it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take Omaha 3 to.
Okay.
Nice, man. We got Tim Howerton throwing in some comments here. We got uh, tailgate spots are great, but the berm is my favorite supporter section in the league. Something about not having seats to get in the way. Yeah, that's true. I'd love to see that feature in the future stadium. I'm sure they're definitely keeping that into consideration in the stadium plans. Um,
Or the drinking rails or safe standing spaces. Something like
exactly.
that would be good too.
Yeah. Followed it up with Dos Santos can barely fit out of the team tunnel in Warner. I hear it was $25,000 expansion in the offseason just so he could get through without tugging. Yeah. And then he expects Northern Colorado to have a better shot, excuse me, to beat Colorado Rapids than Union Omaha to beat St. Louis. If Northern Colorado loses but has a better showing than we do, they will be flying super high. I can, yeah, I agree with both of those statements. Yeah.
I have a feeling St. Louis is going to throw a few more of their big league guys in than the Rapids will. So,
Yeah.
especially with it being their first Open Cup, I mean, you're obviously going to want to make it in that as far as you can, and just with the bench strength MLS has over USL. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't always mean something, but I think they're going to throw a few more starters than we most people would expect.
Yeah. Man, St. Louis is flying high right now. I don't know about that one. I'm gonna be yelling at the TV a lot that night, that's for sure. I wish I could be down there for that one, but both of my transportation options fell through. So I'm gonna be doing my coverage from home that night.
Yep.
It's gonna be a damn good one though. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I wish I could have gotten a little bit more time off work to do that, but running job sites and stuff is kind of makes it difficult to take time off. Short
Yeah.
span, you know.
Yeah. All right, and then to close out week 7 matches, the only match on Sunday is Fuego hosting One Knox. And is this Fuego's first home match? No, it's their second, I think.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Should be their third, but it's their second.
Yeah. They did have that friendly against Pachuca at home, but yeah, they hosted Union Omaha earlier in the season. And I mean, I feel like I'm going to be saying this all season long, but I still don't know what to expect from One Knox.
Yeah, and they're going to be without Kelly Rosales, who had a red card.
Yep.
Probably still going to be without James Thomas, who went out week 2, I think. So yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Fuego on this. They drew last time in Knoxville.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think at home, Fuego, well, they'll be without Adrian Vera, but I don't think he's as big of an impact as Kelly Rosales. So yeah, I'm going Fuego.
And they have a couple of strong keepers and Ant-Man and then Mitchell North. And I'm looking at their
Yeah,
defense. They have
Ant-Man's
Francois
still
Delis.
Ant-Man's still hurt.
Yeah, he is.
Haven't heard otherwise.
Yep. Their midfield is where they really get the work done. Obviously, you have Jose Carrera Garcia, William
He
Bijev, Diego Casillas, Ozzy Ramos.
Carrera
Um,
Garcia will probably not be there either.
I agree. Yeah.
I think he's still dealing with some visa issues.
And then they have Sharif J. Where's they don't have this listed on their site. Jaramillo. Isn't he on the
It's Arce Jaramillo.
yeah. They don't have him listed in here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Othoniel. Yeah.
sometimes he'll go by different names on wherever, depending on where you see it.
Yeah.
Jaramillo's on his jersey. Arce
Yeah.
was his his last. Yeah.
I just don't know how to call this one. Two teams that I every time I've tried to pick either of these two teams, I've been wrong. So
That's where you pick a draw.
that's exactly where I was going with that. I can't figure either of them out. So you're getting a 1-1 draw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
One Knox is they they haven't quite got it together like I think a lot of us thought they would at this point.
yeah. Yeah, I thought One Knox was going to be a lot farther along than they currently are.
Tim saying Fuego has 1 goal in their last 4 games, and it was against Knoxville. But I don't see where it's going to come from. Their offense is non-existent, and their defense is suspect.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the offensive production is in their midfield. Um, they don't have much of a problem getting into the final third. It's producing once they're there. But with the amount of speed and pressure that they play with, because I mean we've seen it week after week. They play very high. They play very fast. Um, their offensive line is very high. Their defensive line is very high. They fly around the field. I mean, this could be a team that gives One Knox a lot of issues.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know on this one's. And I mean, both teams have tough people next week after this upcoming week. So yeah, I have no idea.
I mean, I think One Knox only had 1 shot on target against Tormenta as well. So it's like,
Man,
2 pretty anemic offenses,
yeah.
offensive performances, and how they're going to meet.
Hmm. I think, man, for this one, I would probably go with a. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go with a Fuego win.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
Alex, we kept you on for quite a bit tonight. Before we sign off, do you have any big projects coming out? Any articles, podcasts, episodes, anything like that?
No, just the normal.
Yeah.
Not nothing big at the moment.
Cool.
Wish I did, but sometimes the paying job and the family stuff comes first.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah,
Exactly.
nothing big. Just just doing the best I can with what I got.
Cool. Well, anybody out there who is watching or listening, feel free to follow Alex, follow League One Updater. He's got some articles, he's got the podcast going. The guy is busy with some of the league coverage, both for Richmond and the club as in general. So give him a like, give him a follow, and uh, keep up to date on all the action that's happening over in his realm of the I don't know landscape as well. He's doing a great job over there. So we appreciate Alex, not only joining us tonight, but also all the work that you do to cover all the soccer developments here.
Yeah, likewise, both of you.
Yeah.
Big
Uh,
fans of the show, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely be inviting you to plenty of episodes um, in the future. So thanks for joining tonight, and we'll definitely be seeing you again.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, we appreciate you. Thanks, man.
See ya.
Yeah. Super knowledgeable. Alex. I feel like when you and Alex were uh there talking together, it's just like I'm just gonna step back because you two are like way more knowledgeable about it, a lot of this stuff than I am. You guys both have that like photographic memory of like, oh yeah, last week this happened, and I'm just like, it happened, didn't it? Just like, off the top of my head, I can't get that stuff.
You
So
can't see it, but I've got the tabs open over here, so I have my reference over here. I don't have that photographic memory like he does. And Tim, can you say the website again? He does League One Updater. I don't know if he's on Mastodon. I know that he's on Twitter and he has his own website. He does some podcasting and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely look up League One Updater.
yeah,
It'll
it's
be League One spelled out number one and then spelled out Updater.
yeah on Twitter, and then his actual website is just league1updater.com.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely check him out because he's doing great stuff as well.
yeah,
We always like to anytime we get anybody on that's doing the work. It's, it's a group effort out here for all of us, and trust me, I love listening to everybody's podcasts and reading all their stuff too because it definitely makes the day go by quicker, and it helps me do the show on especially on stuff that I don't get to watch as often or I'm not as knowledgeable about some teams. I'll listen to their podcast and kind of get the rundown on them before I come on and do my rewatch and talk about them here. So
yeah. And I was just chatting with Rob over at Talking Flock, and they
mhm.
had a recent episode where they talked about where they had an interview with one of the guys behind the production of some of the broadcasts, and um, that was an interesting discussion. So if you guys want to listen
Mhm.
to a pretty cool interview, head over to Talking Flock to hear about that whole scene. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
All right. So another thing that we wanted to let all of you know, we are going to be doing a new sort of content thing coming up. We're going to be trialing it this week, where we send out a poll to everybody on social media to ask which match you guys are most excited about. And that's going to be the one that we're going to be highlighting, that we're going to be discussing, breaking down, all that kind of stuff. So you'll see that poll here pretty soon on social media.
Yep.
So stay tuned for our big episode Wednesday night at this point, and we're going to be throwing a bunch of information at you on Wednesday night. So That's going to be fun.
Definitely.
Outside of that, man, Brian, you got anything?
I don't know. I got the car fixed, so I'll be
Yes.
able to do the Wednesday show, and
Cool.
not deprive the people of the content we've promised them. Um, so that's good. Other than that, man, no, just well with the I'll say it now and I'll reiterate it as we get kind of closer to Saturday, but with it being a home game, anybody that's out at Warner, feel free to come up and say hi and grab a sticker or hang out and talk and relax, grab a beer or something. So see
Yeah.
me out there, head on over.
Come chat us up over at the tailgate. And then at halftime, track down Brian and make sure that your halftime thoughts are heard because he's going to be there. He's going to be getting in some quotes from everybody. And he's going to be having a fun feature there with the thoughts from the beer line.
Yeah. It's over by section 105. That's where my seats are. Um, give me a minute or two because I usually run to the bathroom right as halftime starts. So um, I guess wait for me outside the men's room and I'll let you guess which one it is because there's a couple of them over there. I'll be ready to go.
That's going to be fun. That'll be our first true thoughts from the beer line this season.
Yeah. Shitty weather makes it real hard to either talk or get people to talk. And
Yeah.
so yeah, well, I'll be delivering on the promise of some different content this time.
Yep. All right, everybody. That is another reaction Sunday from us here at League One on the Rocks. So stay tuned for more content on social media. Stay tuned for our next big show on Wednesday. And then we'll follow it up with another hype show on Friday. We're going to have Rico from the guys over at Winners and Losers join us for a bit to discuss all things League One related and US Open Cup related and all that kind of stuff. He's got a lot of coverage going on. So we're excited to chat with him.
Definitely.
Yep. All right.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for joining us for another episode of League One on the Rocks, and we will be back very soon.